Magnan.
Here.
Murata. Osgood. Payne. Here. Patel. Salemi. Solomonides. Carrier. Sweezy. Taylor. Here. Vecino. Here. We have a quorum.
Okay, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'm going to ask that item 10 be placed after the reports of Chairman, Chief Executive Officer, and Counsel. Is there objection to move that item 10 up to 8? No objection. Okay, public comments relative to agenda items. Public comments. Okay. Approval of the minutes of the meeting of March the 12th, 2018. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Moved, second.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Are there any additions or deletions? If not, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Maureen? Denise? Report from District Chairman. No report tonight. Report from the Chief Executive Officer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The next few meetings that people will be concerned themselves with our towns. On April 12th, there will be a meeting with the Energy and Environment Committee, specifically to talk about the CSOs related to the North Branch and also talk about the integrated planning. Upcoming board meetings, we mentioned earlier that there is going to be a Water Bureau meeting in May. We haven't got a date yet, but this is an important meeting to talk about the minimum stream flow releases at the West Branch, and also to talk about the concerns about diversion permits and such for the West Branch. Audit committee, we have not had an audit committee in a very long while, and we've got one scheduled for April 18th, and we do not have a time. Is that correct? We're working on the time. This is an important meeting. We're going to be giving a full update on our recovery plan with HCL, our systems integrator for our new SAP system. We've talked about this numerous times about the project with SAP and with HCL. So we're going to give a full detail in terms of our recovery plan with them as well. We do have a draft agreement to bring the project back on track, and we'll give a full update then. The groundwater discharge bill too deep. We do have a meeting scheduled for April 5th, which is this coming Thursday, with myself, District Council, the Chairman, and Deep Commissioner Klee.
Just one.
Yep.
On the 18th, we got a conflict. Our counsel, Mr. Halloran, and I are going to be in Washington and won't be home until, I think, the 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock.
Right, that's not going to work.
So it's not going to work out.
We'll do it next week or something.
Is that for audit?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, we'll reschedule that. That's fine. One of our commissioners have requested an update on this. We mentioned this in the Water Bureau meeting. We are going to, coming in May 1st, we're going to be putting bill inserts, notifications into our customers to let them know effective June 1st, we'll start to charge the primacy charge. If everyone remembers, back in the budget process for the state, there was approximately $2.5 million that needed to be funded for purposes of DPH staffing to oversee the water utilities across the state.
DPH, Department of Public Health.
Yeah, Department of Public Health. The decision was made to charge a fee per customer, per meter, which was approximately $3, which is approximately $400,000 for the MDC for the year. There needs to be $200,000 collected by, and a payment made by January 1st, 2019. So we're going to be notifying our customers. We did, back in January of this year, did send out a press release notifying the public of this issue. So it'll be approximately 33 cents per month for all of our customers. And again, that notice will go out on May 1st. Let me just see here if there's anything else besides. I would like to take this opportunity to recognize, unfortunately, I have received a resignation from the Director of Finance, Rob Constable. For the last week and a half, I've been trying to encourage him to reconsider. He did get an offer that he really felt was in his best interest and his family's best interest. So he is scheduled to leave April 20th. We are in the middle of our audit. We have brought in Cone Resnick. They actually started today with 3 staff persons, senior CPA accountants, to help Rob the next 3 weeks. They will work with Rob and they will help transition. We did post Rob's job, Director of Finance, last Wednesday, and we are going to use Rob and Cone Resnick and others to help shortlist a candidate to replace Rob. Rob probably won't be here to be part of the interview process, but we desperately tried to keep Rob, but his mind was made up. It was apparent, and so we wish him all the best. And we met with Rob's staff to assure them that Cone Resnick will be here. Cone Resnick will be here till June 8th to finish the audit and to help assess and transition the new Director of Finance with Rob's absence. So there's plenty more that is in my report, but that's it for tonight.
Are there any questions? Questions? If not, item number 8, a report from the District Council.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Bart Halloran, District Council. I have a few things to report on. We'll talk a little bit more about the class action lawsuit brought after the Supreme Court decision on Glastonbury later. We are in the very preliminary parts of that right now. There is a budgetary impact for hiring counsel. There are numerous defenses to it, but as of right now, we are pursuing insurance coverage for officers and directors. So we have a 30-day extension from the plaintiff's counsel. So we will deal with that at the next board meeting. We'll have a lot more information for you on that. Second matter is, as you know, I've been appointed by the board to the Water Utility Coordinating Committee, which is coming up with its final report. This committee was designed to identify where there is water and to identify who is providing the water to each community. And by that, there are service areas that everybody has. And what happens within those service areas if one of the smaller water companies fails. In addition to that, we're coming up with an overall plan which assesses the impact of the stream flow regulations on safe yield. As you all know, the Department of Environmental Protection has adopted minimum stream flow regulations. The MDC, because of the particular sources of water and the contributions that we make to the Farmington River, has been adjudged exempt from those regulations. If we were not exempt from those regulations, it would have a very significant impact on the amount of water that we have to provide our customers. Something to the tune, Scott, correct me if I'm wrong, it'd be about 12 million gallons a day.
Correct.
So that would mean you have 12 million gallons less that you have to sell to any type of a customer. Connecticut Water, Aquarion, the other companies have started their assessments, and their impacts are similar. There was some discussion, the Department of Environmental Protection had deferred discussion of that, which was originally in the water plan, to refer it over to the Water Utility Council that I serve on, saying that really it was too complicated of a topic and not ready for discussion in the water plan. When we got to the Water Utility Coordinating Council, they again said, well, we don't have enough information, you really shouldn't consider that. But that was not accepted by the Water Utility Council, because you have to start somewhere. You can always refine the numbers as you go along. The regulations are complex as they deal with droughts and other exemptions to these minimum stream flow regulations. But in order to at least have a baseline to start, you need to understand what is the general impact. The general impact on other water utilities is similar to what it is to us, which is 12 to 15 million gallons a day. In particular, that would have impacts in the Fairfield County area, whereas, in the last drought, they had quite a problem down in Greenwich. So that is being done. The public comment period has started on the Water Utility Coordinating Committee report. It started about 2 weeks ago, and there's about 3 weeks left for public comment to be received, and then a final plan will be drafted in the springtime. I'd like to thank our engineering department, which has spent a lot of time going over these plans and providing me with the technical expertise to actually comment on these things. So I've been pretty much just a mouthpiece for the people who know what they're doing here. We have, I think, contributed a lot to the process and to everybody's understanding, and I think we have clarified the situation of who is providing water and where. And now the next part will be to discuss where are we giving the water and where do we have needs, and how are we going to cover the needs in the future for the state. The last thing I'd like to talk about is the legislative report. Chris, do you want to give a report on that?
You may have seen, Chris Stone, Assistant District Counsel, you may have seen in your emails last week, and you'll get another report towards the end of this week, the bill tracking report, which indicates what bills we're watching, what bills we're stating objections to, and what bills we support. There's also some editorializing by me in one of the columns, so take a look at that in terms of what our position is. And I'd appreciate any feedback you have either through email, or you can call me on my cell at any time, or here at the district at any time. We're really keeping an eye on, it's beginning to be the close of the committee work. The three major committees, Finance, Judiciary, and Appropriations, will be done, I believe, beginning of next week. This week is their JF deadlines are falling. Once that's done, they'll start meeting in earnest as a full body, and we'll keep an eye on the bills that I've indicated and those reports we should be watching. We look out for amendments at this point to make sure there's no amendments that are going to be submitted that would either hurt us, and certainly support those amendments that would help us. In terms of the one major issue that we're keeping track on is the looking after the state water plan and the efforts to whether there's going to be a public hearing. I believe there will be a public hearing, so we'll keep an eye on that, and then to see what the legislature does with that plan. So, and any amendments that might come about to that plan. So that's the strategy so far. So far, so good. It's been a relatively quiet session. There's a lot of business on the budget, a lot of business with issues that do not affect us, but so far we're faring pretty well. I'd be more than happy to
Are there any
answer
questions?
Questions?
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
And I have nothing further, Mr. Chairman.
Any questions of the Chief Legal Counsel, Mr. Halloran? If not, proceed to item number 10, taken out of order. Water Bureau consideration of and potential action regarding public request for replacement of benches on MDC, for placement of benches on MDC watershed land. Is there a motion?
Second.
Moved and seconded.
resolution, and also Scott will come back to us at the next Water Bureau meeting to do final approval after it comes back, what kind of benches we put there. As far as insurance, there were a number of questions from staff, and Jim come back with those, but no one on the Bureau had any problem with it. So the resolution was passed, but then coming back for final action.
Commissioner, we'll bring a standard back for you for next month, which will include these two benches, so that way forever, moving forward.
We have allowed it in the past.
We have allowed it in the past.
Any questions? Rich?
Was this precipitated by the letter that's in our packet?
Yes. There was testimony relative to the letters that are in front of you.
Okay.
Further questions? If not, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Item number 9, Board of Finance consideration of and potential action regarding budget for legal defense of non-member town surcharge class action suit. Is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, that's so moved.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion.
Could have the passed unanimously at the Board of Finance. Could have the clerk read the resolution because we don't have it in writing, so.
The resolution is not in front of you, but it was for the funding for the legal defense of the non-member town surcharge class action lawsuit will be 100% funded on the water side of the district.
Is there a second?
Second.
Been seconded. Discussion. No discussion? I'm sorry. Whit?
For the record, my name is Whit Osgood. I'm the non-voting commissioner from Glastonbury. I made the comment at the Finance Committee, I'll make it again, which is that I understand the need for the appropriation for the legal work. I hope, however, that our legal staff and our executives will evaluate the cost-benefit analysis of legal fees versus a settlement as we go forward in the process.
Thank you. Further comment?
If I just might, Mr. Chairman, Bart Heller and District Council, I acknowledged that it's always good to discuss the most cost-efficient resolution. However, there are complex issues in this lawsuit, not the least of which is they seek reimbursement for fees back to 2006, and the statute of limitations on a case that's brought in 2017 is 3 years. So that would mean that charges after 2000, the charges going backwards should be limited to 2014. And as you all know, legislation was passed that specifically authorizes this charge going forward from 2014. So there are quite a few defenses to this matter, and we are meeting with counsel. We're meeting with the insurance companies on this for coverage, and we will report back as this matter proceeds.
If I may just add to that, please.
Sure.
So I'd just like to make clear up an issue that we talked about earlier in the Water Bureau meeting. I just want to make it clear, one of the commissioners asked, what the risk. The risk is the worst case, right? So we have to prepare for the worst case. Just to remind everyone, we did cut the legal budget $600,000 in 2018. And this money is coming from an account that although we don't expect to spend all of that, we may spend some of that amount of money that we might have to replace later on in the year. So I just want to make clear that this is not monies that we had extra. So we'll come back to the Board of Finance. But But whether it's a settlement or whether it's the worst-case scenario, whatever is decided, I just want to be clear that the water customer will pay in their water rate whatever this settlement or claim is or becomes. So we understand the Commissioner's comments, but it's a little early for us to deal with those kinds of settlement issues. So I just want to be clear on that.
All water rate customers.
Everyone who consumes water and has a water meter, whatever the claim is, worst case, 10 million, best case, nothing, whatever that is, it will be built into, as we all know, we're a nonprofit. So whatever it costs us to operate, if the decision is we have to pay that claim over a one-year period, then we would have to raise that amount of revenue in 1 year, and our only revenue source is our water customer, both member and non-member towns.
Further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item 11, consideration of and potential action regarding settlement of pending litigation Res versus MDC. Is there an executive session on this?
I can speak in generalities, and if we need to, we can go in executive session.
Okay.
This claim arises from an allegation of Mr. Ronaldo Ruiz was walking down a crosswalk. He allegedly stepped into an uncovered gate box, injured his ankle. He was taken by ambulance to the hospital. He saw the doctor, went through a couple months of physical therapy, and then his ankle returned to healthy condition thereafter. He has outstanding medical bills of $4,763. Those remain unpaid. We are proposing a settlement of $7,500. If there's any questions, I can try to answer, or we can go into executive session.
Ray?
In Hartford, I forget the street name. I forget what street it was on.
On a local street.
Yes, in the crosswalk.
Discussion? Is everybody ready for the settlement of $7,500?
$7,500.
I
So,
have a question.
go ahead, Tom.
Some of those gate things are knocked off by plows and stuff like that. We take full responsibility to that, even though a Hartford truck or a plow truck or something else could knock these out of the way and we don't hear about it for a while?
No, the claim falls under the highway defect statute, which means that we have to have notice or constructive notice of the defect. So if, that's our defense on these cases. If the cover has been missing for a substantial period of time, that's what's called constructive notice. We could have or should have investigated and found that out. But in a case like this, the dollar amount, the amount of medical bills that remain outstanding, any kind of settlement below that amount would be very difficult, and this is a good cost-benefit analysis. There are other cases where this is a good proposed settlement.
Thank you very much.
Further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please signify by saying, what's that?
I didn't get who moved the motion.
Who moved the motion? Maureen?
Second.
It's already been moved, but he wanted to know who the seconding party was. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item 12, opportunity for general public comments. Commissioners' questions and comments, item 13. Richard?
Do we have a formal exit process interview that the CEO does when an employee leaves?
I actually did perform that with Rob and Bob Zeit, yes.
Thank you.
Dom?
Yep. Is it possible that we could either have council give us a briefing on the non-member town surcharge class action lawsuit from when it started, how it happened, whatever information he could provide us, either in a brief briefing or in a meeting, whatever he prefers.
I'm happy to do it. We'll have a lot more information at the next board meeting.
Thank you very much.
Further Ray?
I'd just like to wish Rob the best. It's a great loss after 10 years. Anybody that's worked with him on the board here knows it's going to be a hard position to fill. Somebody with his knowledge, working with John for years, to leave, but best of luck on the new job.
Buddy?
Just to reiterate what Commissioner Sweezy said, we did have a chance to thank Rob at the Board of Finance, who worked with us, in particular with the Board of Finance. So thanks again, Rob. Best of luck to you, and we're sorry that you're leaving. And I don't know, Scott, you just must not have had a good argument or something. I don't know.
I tried hard, believe me.
Sure?
I tried
Okay.
really hard.
Did he try hard, Rob? I mean,
I tried really hard, so.
anyway, very best of luck to you.
Just a little short on his number.
And I do have a question for Scott. Scott, just to put this in context, how many gate boxes do you think there are in the MDC?
We have
I mean,
30.
you know,
We have-
just so that we can put it in context, how many, if that's a liability, how many of them are out there? So-
We have 30,000 gates. Each one of them has a gate box. And then each customer, 102,000 customers, has a service box right off the road on the, not on the property line. So it could be in the sidewalk, or it could be in the grass just before the fence to the property. So, yeah, and we've had circumstances where these gate covers and even manhole covers, one of the commissioners mentioned, you know, plows are famous for taking a 3-foot, 300-pound manhole cover away. And so we have a process, we work with the towns and the DPWs to replace those quickly. But they also get stolen. And there is a salvage value. We have gone after the salvage companies to make sure that they report that to us and to the local police. So, but it's a challenge, to say the least.
There's a gate box for every fire hydrant, and there's a gate box for every service to...
We have 14,000 fire hydrants, so every fire hydrant has its own shut-off. So we have a lot of gate boxes.
Are they mechanically fastened?
No.
No, so what happens is your gate is down below grade at 4 feet, and then you literally have a service gate box, which is really just a cast iron container, which allows, you know, you have a cover on top, and it allows you to get down to the
No, I'm
the nut on
questioning the
valve.
cover is not mechanically fastened.
No, it's
Talking
not.
about-
No,
no.
it's not. Right, no, it's not.
Thank you.
Further comments? I would just like to also, I'm sorry, Denise?
Thank you. You mentioned that there will be a meeting with DEP coming up. I was just wondering, have there been any developments since our last meeting in
We'll
regard to?
find out. That's the purpose of this meeting. It's a settlement meeting, according to the representations by both parties. What
this
that
point,
settlement
who's
is,
looking
we haven't
To make the
gotten
settlement.
to it yet, but it's Thursday at 3 o'clock. We'll be meeting with them.
I could say, from our standpoint, we'd much rather settle than have to litigate this or turn off their water. But we will find out whether or not they have flexibility this Thursday, and we'll report back to you on anything that they offer us.
Thank you.
Some point in time, we have to have resolution thanking our outgoing finance director and should have some get together to thank him for service. Government employees, we come and go, and for those who have done a good job, we should acknowledge.
We'll have a party at Rob's house.
As long as we're not paying for the food, we're in good shape. Otherwise, we won't invite Rob. There's going to be a big saving in the budget, you don't understand.
Rob, what are you doing tonight at about 7:30?
I'm just kidding. Are there any further comments? I'm sorry, Al?
Yeah, I've got two very quick ones. First of all, it's been a while since we've had any kind of discussion or report with regard to our affirmative action program, and I think it's important that we do that. And I'm concerned from several standpoints. One, I think it's important that we look carefully at small businesses within the member towns and make sure that we're doing everything possible to see that those folks are getting work. Then we have women and we have minorities. And I just think that we need to get an update as to where we're going, and also perhaps some discussion of what our numbers look like in terms of our general employment population. My second concern, and it's a general comment, and I think I've not made any secret of it to my fellow board members, and that is that we are in danger, basically, of consuming this company. And we have reached a point, and I understand that everyone is under pressure, but the fact of the matter is that everyone starts to duck when you talk about what basically our needs are in terms of our expenses, and I think that we have been quite vigorous. How many companies, and particularly public companies, can you look at that's, when I came here in 2003, we had over 500 employees. We're down
700,
700. I'm sorry. We're down to under 500. And that's just basically because we have been very vigilant. We've tried to take advantage of new technologies. We've tried to reorganize and be careful and thoughtful. But you can only cut so much. And the fact of the matter is that we need to maintain the quality of this organization. And if we don't do that, we will be in a death spiral. And I just think that we need to be careful and thoughtful about that. And I think that we need to make sure that we explain to people as carefully as we can and as thoughtfully as we can that we're just not sitting here and basically adding things to the bill. We're basically trying to keep this place alive, the doors open, compensating our employees for the good job that they do, because they're basically the horses that are pulling this wagon. But it's a difficult time, and I think that I just would encourage people to be thoughtful, and more particularly to make sure that we tell the story and tell the complete story, because there is a story to be told, and if we don't do that, we are going to create some severe problems for them. So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I think it would be an appropriate report from the PP&I committee relative to affirmative action. I think that's a good point, and hopefully the next committee meeting you can raise that and provide a report to the body. Further comments? Just in closing, I'd like to extend MDC's thanks to the families that are proposing benches on MDC property. We thank you for your generous contribution and look forward to bringing this to an end so that we can have the gifts provided for public use. If not, the appropriate, it's been moved without objection, we stand adjourned.